We have some minutes on the 20th meeting. Any changes?
Seemed
Any
correct.
comments?
I don't know, Fred, you get the question marks, if there's something. Lease purchase agreement, that one right there. I think it was John.
Let me go see if
So he says, what do I do? This is a Joker. This is a big hole.
Riddler.
Sorry. Batman, I love it.
See, that's what people don't understand. That's strange. That's why I
Motion?
I think it was John in that spot, right?
Let me see what you're.
It would have been Chief Phillips.
That's for the fire truck now. Okay, that's not.
Okay. Second.
Motion.
Mike? Yes. PJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes. Okay, we have special guests tonight. Mr. Carroll from Tarma. Welcome.
It's great to be here. Thank you, John. Last time I was here, you didn't have the parking lot
Nope.
finished like
Just
that.
working on that right now, yeah.
It's great, and you had your back to the front, so.
Yeah,
I
we
like-
lost
I
a
like
couple
the new
people
layout.
at this table, and, you know, due to bullets coming through the window, now we can actually see them.
Right. You don't have your back. Big screen TV.
Yeah.
As you all know, you're part of your association's property liability program, and together with over 1,000 townships, you self-insure on a group basis. And the program continues to evolve, and there's some nice things that have happened this year that I want to make sure you're aware of. A couple of years ago, retirement granted every member cyber liability without charging you for that, up to, in your case, $3 million liability. And last year they made available cyber breach coverage, where an application we filled out and then we were given a quote to buy that breach coverage. It was first party coverage. This year, effective April 18th, they decided to just give everybody $250,000 data breach coverage. So if there is a breach, there's certain things you have to do from a regulatory standpoint. You have to notify people and pay for identity theft protection. There could be fines. You may have to hire a PR firm to work your way through it. There was a breach in the city of Twinsburg a couple of years ago. You may know about it. It was a big deal back then. I can tell you about that claim if you like. But so that's a big deal. We're really happy to tell you that you now have full cyber liability protection, cyber breach protection, and they've hired a gentleman that he's probably not contacted you yet, but he will be doing that over the next year and meet with whomever you need.
Is that Cal?
Yeah,
Yeah,
he
he
was,
was
we
here.
did meet with him.
Good.
You're right.
What were your impressions of the meeting?
I think he had some good ideas, things that we're going to talk about implementing. We're going to talk to an IT company, but you know, we're a little bit on the small side as far as our infrastructure and networks.
Yeah.
But he had some good ideas. He offered us some samples of policies and procedures.
Good. And policies and procedures you mentioned, that's a very important aspect of loss control. And really every township If they follow the same policies and procedures, if you do have a liability claim, it's likely to minimize the impact of that, utilizing best practices. Another exciting improvement to the program is they're paying for every building to be appraised. It's currently valued over $50,000. I don't know if you ever received an industrial appraisal or not. I would doubt it, you know.
I don't think so.
Well, you may know what an industrial appraisal is. It's a very detailed report, and it's not inexpensive, but for making that, they will appraise all your buildings over 50,000 over a period of 3 years. So it's not going to be anything soon, I don't think, because it's kind of starting with bigger townships.
What's the difference between industrial and commercial?
It's a good question. I don't know the answer to that.
We did the house up there, we split off and sold. We had a commercial appraisal on that. Yeah, it was kind of pricey.
It may have involved a bank. Or was there anything to do with financing?
No, we bought a piece of property and we split the house off and sold.
Okay.
And just,
I think it basically hems around the phase 2 papers.
I see.
Phase 2.
And they are continuing to return money to the members. This year, you're going to get over $2,000. In addition to the morgue grant, which I'm sure you're aware of, it's easy $500 to get reimbursed for safety.
We've applied for that and received it.
Good. Okay. Those are really the new enhancements to the program this year. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
I'm just going to make a comment. I did sit in on the meeting with Fred. I was very impressed with his presentation. And I kind of agree with Fred. We're not quite, he was at a level way above us.
Well,
But,
that's all you know.
yeah, but he did have a very interesting video. I think that's what he showed us right there. And I'm sure you've seen that where, where he had somebody assume somebody's identity in less than a minute or two.
I've heard about it.
Something about it.
It's not difficult for people to want to do that.
Since I'm pretty one of the oldest guys in the world, I was here when I'm the guy that helped make that decision to go with retirement back 30 years ago. I'll be honest with you, I've never had a regret. We've never had a regret, and it's interesting that very first time we signed up with Oconto, we cut our insurance premium by 50%. Our coverages were increased. And so that was the difference of getting township specific, not just some marketplace policy that we got. And I've been very pleased with the retirement over the years.
Thanks for that. It's been a very successful program. Most years, 100% of the townships stay with the program. There's only 2 in Jogga County that are
I
not.
don't understand that myself, but you can't speak for the others.
Yeah. We're going to quote Clarendon Township this year. We were never really given a fair shot before, but that's okay. So Retirement receives a AAA rating from Demotech. It's a highly respected rating agency for insurance companies and pooling programs. Only 15% of the pooling programs they rate on a financial stability basis receive their AAA rating, which Retirement has. Same with the sister program to Retirement called Public Entities Pool of Ohio, which is just recently endorsed by the Ohio Municipal League. It's been endorsed by the OPRA, the Ohio Parks Rec Association, Jogga Park District's a member of, and the Association of Ohio Health Commissioners, Jogga County Health District is part of that. So the pooling program has worked pretty well, very well actually. And as you know, the board of directors is made up of other township, well, all township people. Yeah. So we thank you for your continued support.
Any questions for you?
They've done a good job for us. Really can't, never heard anybody complain, say if anything bad about Otarma so far, so you guys must be doing something right.
Well, I enjoy working with Nancy, Fred, so they know how to get a hold of me. There aren't any problems.
Thanks for stopping in.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. You're welcome. Okay, we do have some scheduled reports. Number one, Mr. Kiko.
We should all have a copy of activities for August. We did process 13 or 12. We took in 12. We did not process one of them because of some missing data. So 11 applications were processed, 2 of which were new houses, which now brings new houses for the year to 8, which I think is maybe down a little bit, but it's about the same as the last couple of years. I did attend a very interesting meeting of Geauga County zoning inspectors. We've been getting, we get together 2 or 3 times a year. This last one we had the Army Corps of Engineers, two young ladies from the Army Corps of Engineers, and it was very interesting. And if anybody can stop agriculture, they can do it in a heartbeat. So when I, as a zoning inspector, tell a prospective individual that they have to check with the Army Corps of Engineers, and they don't do it, and they build a building, and the Army Corps can make you take it down. And she said that they've had to do that several times in the last couple of years.
This would be
Not in Geauga County, but in the state of northeastern Ohio.
like agricultural buildings.
Yeah.
Because of floodplain or what?
Yeah, but it was very interesting how the agency works, and they did it. There were 2 ladies there. One is in enforcement, and one is in the application process, and explain the different roles and everything. And the application process sometimes takes 6, 8 months, maybe even a year. And part of the problem is it's got to go to all these different agencies besides, it starts with soil and water in your local municipality or county, and it might have to go to the Ohio EPA, and then maybe to federal EPA, and so she said sometimes, it's not our fault that certain applications or processes get held up, because we can only do our part in it. We have to forward it to different bodies, and it takes them time to go through the process. But it was very interesting, and they showed us had some slides on different types of wetlands and what some people say are not wetlands, and she explained why they were. And it was, like I said, very worthwhile presentation. It was unfortunate that there weren't a few more townships there, but conflicted with a couple other things for some other townships. But I thought it was very worthwhile. Mr. Dietrich was there, and he also did. And there's something we're working with. Mr. Dietrich's working with the Geauga Links, Access Geauga. There is a layer that we may be able to get put on, which would tell you, all of us in a heartbeat, if you're going to need a permit from the Army Corps of Engineers. And they're working on trying to get that put in, because they said it could be done. So that'd be interesting to see if that comes to fruition. But like I said, it was very beneficial, and I enjoyed it. So we'll see what happens. And of course, I did share with you gentlemen before that I do believe that one variance that was denied will come to appeal process, I believe. But we received public records requests for all the minutes and everything from an attorney. So I would assume it's moving forward. That's it.
Okay, questions for Frank? Mr. Gordon, let me read this. Township Highway Inspector.
Good.
Emeritus.
So, okay, Mr. Chairman, use a proper. Auburn Township Road Department report for August 2018. Our chip seal project began on Thorpe and Bartholomew Roads respectively, that's prior to the weekend. The tack and stone applied. The final sweeping of loose aggregate should take place today or tomorrow. Well, it's past today, I went by again. It should be tomorrow that they get that loose aggregate up there. As far as looking at the road and the quality of the installation area, I think is pretty good. I don't see a lot of bleed through at this point in time. We'll see when they remove the loose stone, if there is any show through. The paving projects, which are scheduled for September 4th and September 6th, have been moved to next week. So we're looking at sometime next week. I had a conversation with Nick Morris today, and he said potentially next week would be the start date. So that's better. I thought it was a little farther out. So,
Well, Emmerich, will both of those contractors be here at the same time then?
yeah,
conceivably?
it looks like they're within a day or two of each other that they're moving in. They shouldn't be in each other's way. They're totally different areas
Yeah.
of town that these taking place in. As recommended by the Jog County Engineer's Office, an extension was added to an existing 15-inch cross culvert pipe on Calumet Road to eliminate any undermining of the roadway. That was across from Vince Giacchetti's old house there. And yes, the pipe was short right to the edge of the road. And with the scour there, it was undermining the base there. We did take care of that. And that was prior to the asphalt that's going on. Driveway culvert pipes were replaced on Woodacre Trail, Creighton Drive, and Cumberland Trail. We did do some minor ditching projects on Stafford Road, Woodacre Trail, and Thorpe Road as well. The roadside mower was cutting back brush and experienced a pin failure at a point of articulation on the boom. The boom was swapped out with our spare that we had that we purchased. The mower was again put in service, and it did have the hydraulic drive motor for the rotary head that did fail. We believe there's some seals. There should be a requisition there that passed by for DW for repair, a pump, and I think some couplings to get that going again. So we're currently sourcing a new motor and have the old one rebuilt. Once again, what we've been doing now is taking this section of roadway, doing all three profiles. We're doing the road edge, we're doing the inside of the ditch, and then the back as well. Before the end of the summer here, fall, we should be able to get on the entire township. The Maple Shade Cemetery driveway was prepped, and the administration parking lot renovation project received asphalt and dirt material. And that came off without a hitch, and I'm really glad that we did hook up with Mr. Todd Lamb. He's been very valuable with him and his little paver to be able to tackle some of these jobs that we did in-house in the township. Additional sinkholes appeared in the ditch line and Cumberland Trail. And again, the engineer's office, we brought in the Jogga County Water Resources to camera and perform a dye test on the sewer lines. As far as the cameras, the camera all the way from the cul-de-sac up to the entrance, they didn't find any breach. Then they did introduce 1,500 gallons of dye into the system, that line that runs along there, and they didn't pick up any dye. One of the things that I talked with the engineer's office was less than desirable materials were used in the construction of that ditch line. When you do have, and Mr. Everly, you were there and witnessed it, when you have successive holes open up in one construction area, that would, I think that would lend itself to doing some
Well, the one
materials
hole
there.
was
4
6
foot,
6 feet in diameter.
at least 3 feet deep, and that's
3
in
feet
someone's
deep,
yard
so.
there right now. So we have one left to fill there. And the aggregate, we are choking with aggregate, and it is working, so, because of the larger stone, we choke with the smaller stone. Which is something we've done on Lucky Bell as well. The new sinkholes appeared there in the ditch line where the sewers collect the waste there. It was a month of vandalizing stolen street signs, again, I don't know why. Kids are bored, I guess, from going back to school. We did replace the Settlers Trail, street name sign, the Ridge Creek Trail street name sign, Auburn Lane street name sign, and the Shaw Road stop sign was shot up, a bunch of old holes through it, and, Bartholomew Road and Lost Lakes Trail as well. We had a speed limit sign on Bartholomew, and Lost Lakes Trail was due to tree removal by a private company that had smashed the stop sign there. We replaced that. We've had a conversation with Manaway Township. They're interested in our old pressure washer. It's over 20 years old. Does it have some time left on it? I don't know. I don't know if they're looking for a parts unit or whatever, but I spoke with Mr. Everly about this, and we were talking about $100 to let them have it, take it out of our building. It's sitting there taking up space.
Yeah, you and I talked about it today too. We've done this before. Don't we have to do like a resolution setting a value of less than $2,500 for that? And then we can do whatever we want with it. And then if what I remember correctly, I think you're right. Okay, so I will make a motion to set value for that piece of equipment at less than $2,500.
I'll second.
Do whatever you want to do after we go here.
Right. I'll let them know, and then I'll work with Fred and Nancy, delivering a check and getting them about it.
Mike,
Yes.
Jake,
Yes.
John?
Yes. You want a motion to get rid of it to Manaway?
Yeah, so moved.
Okay.
Second.
Motion to sell to Manaway.
Yeah, that 2,500 pertain to like bidding thresholds or
Right.
something.
Don't pick it up. I
Sealed
think
bidding.
that's cost more than the French bid.
Mike,
Yes.
DJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Anything else then?
We did have a couple of trees down this last weather that came through. Fred, you did text me that that's going through there, a couple other branches. We did have a large cherry come down during the week up in the park there. So that's been cleared, taken care of, and it's out of the way. That's it. That's all I got for you.
Okay.
Questions for everyone?
Well, Mr. Everly,
Yes, sir.
one more thing, I'm sorry. And with the deluge that we did experience going around to the sites, including the administration building, all the drainage improvements that we did recently to address this excessive waters that we had, everything's working successfully.
What did you measure in?
I heard we had
Probably
about
about less
we
than-
had
less
about
than half an hour?
2 inches and a half. Some people had closer to 3. but that's,
I had a report today that we had excessive water all the way up to the door yesterday, but there's no evidence of that out there whatsoever. So
even a
I
drop
gotta
of blood.
believe that drain.
Well,
will
even
work.
so, with it sheeting off the volume that came down, there's no
Yeah.
infrastructure that we have in place to handle that, but it did enter the catch basins, the drains, and go on its merry way. So we weren't stuck with pooling around the
There's no
building.
mud on the sidewalk or
Right.
anything, which says that it never got that high.
No, it never got that high. Plus, we get the rest of the landscaping in, and that's
Yeah,
gonna
it's
even
grass
slow
there.
the water down further, but, we've had probably 3 good rains now that have shown that that's working fine. Okay. Mr. Troy,
Okay, just like to thank Kenston Schools. They had a recognition for first responders at the August 24th football game. They had representatives from Auburn, Bainbridge, the school system, and we had responders from Sheriff's Office, Bainbridge Police, Bainbridge Fire, Auburn Fire. Really nice ceremony for them, and just thanking basically all our first responders in front of the football crowd there. And it's always a nice ceremony, so just thank Kenston for doing that again this year. That was all I had. Everything else we have is on the agenda.
Mr. Callen.
We got notice, I think right after the last meeting, that something we discussed, I think over the winter, late winter, early spring maybe. I think it was about that long ago, but on the door over there, you see Ohio Open Doors, which is a state-sponsored program to open up historic buildings. For one, I guess it's over the weekend, and we were we're gonna open on Sunday, the museum, which is on the National Registers of the Free Will Baptist Church. We're gonna open that building on Sunday from 10 to 2, Sunday the 16th from 10 to 2. I'm sure all the background, once this notice came in, oh yeah, that's right, we can commit to doing this. So I think we got everything, all the necessities covered. If you guys want to do some refreshments or something, so I have no idea what kind of attendance to expect. We've gotten, like you saw, you looked at the banner thing, so we're gonna put back, just so the people that are interested in looking at these historic buildings know which historic building to look at. We're gonna put a banner out front, where it is and everything. Got a porta potty in there for the day. We could use some volunteers, anybody that wants to, sometime between now and then, assist us on some setup. Also windowsill or something would probably be helpful. And during the day, we have one lady that's done quite a bit of cemetery research here, that she's gonna help us out by being in the building during the day. Out there for the most part, it's 4 hours, so it's no big deal. But you guys wanna approve some type of refreshment, water, whatever?
Yeah, I'd say some, at least have some iced up bottled water up there, probably.
That's the day of the ALS walk. And I'll be at that for Karen's kids. So that's the weekend.
Yeah, this did come up kind of quick, even though we committed to it a long time ago. They kind of said, here's when the dates are going to be, and that was right after the last meeting. So, it's obviously something we can do since we built the building before. It's not that difficult. But we, anybody that's interested, and we do get calls throughout the year. Hey, what's that building up there? Here's your chance to come take a tour and help us out. Take a look. So there's a lot of stuff that's been set up for a long time, and like I said, this was about 3 weeks ago that we're going to do this, but we're going to do it. The other thing, the reason I bring it up in my report, because it's not on the agenda, it requires, I guess, some decision. From the auditor's office, 2 parcels that, I think we talked about this about a year ago, maybe. One on East Washington, that backs up clear of the freeway. And then the second one probably is off of Woodacre. It looks like that was probably had something to do with back in the era these were done. We would put temporary cul-de-sacs in because that's a 60-foot frontage. And that was set up on the Woodacre development, but not the Auburn Lakes development. And so it's a 60-foot right-of-way to nowhere. According to the auditor, map of 2 parcels are being offered at this sale in October. If you select these parcels, they will be advertised separately from the remaining parcels in the auditor's land sale. So I guess by saying if, we probably ought to let the auditor know one way or the other on these. I said the other parcel, from what I recall, is a neighborhood of 9 acres. With Washington Street frontage, and then it widens out into kind of a flaggish lot, and goes clear back to the freeway. You inherit taxes. Should purchaser select the parcels to be offered for sale for the sum of taxes, assessments, charges, penalties, interest and cost due on the parcels. I think we looked into this. last
Right,
year.
we decided it wasn't economically feasible.
Yeah. Is that where we're at on it?
I'd say so.
I
It's,
say let it go through the system. And then
Okay.
if it gets all the way through the system, we'll take another look at it.
Okay, now, before I make a motion here, this sentence I found interesting. If no bids are received, I, being Chuck Walder, the auditor, will then issue a certificate of sale to Russell Township for the parcels.
Yeah, well, that's a typographical error.
Okay.
I thought that it was a nice try, is what it was. See,
But,
updated, changed.
you know, he has his hands busy doing a lot of things right now.
Okay, that one didn't make a whole lot of sense. So can I ignore that sentence then?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I hope so.
Okay, that,
And either that, or maybe we should make some claims on some property in Russell. I don't think we want that park up there right now, from what I was reading.
I did find that interesting. Okay, so I'm gonna make a motion that we have, at this point, no interest in these parcels, and we'll send them over to.
I think we should just leave it go its natural course.
Well, that we have no interest at this point. Let's just stay, that's kind of natural work, isn't it? That'd be my motion.
Yeah, we can just set them up, that as a courtesy. It says here, should you be interested in the sale, please notify me as soon as possible.
So let's notify them of that.
Okay, I'll say.
Mike,
Yes.
BJ,
Yes.
John? No.
Anything else?
No, it's all right.
Okay. Fred?
Regular reports in front of you, including a payment listing the warrants in front of you. Warrants number 4695 through 4719, totaling $62,002.63. Have some resolutions. I need some supplemental appropriations. Resolution 2018-24. This is for contracted services in the general fund. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, the following supplemental appropriations to the general fund are necessary to pay for contracted services. $4,000 to account 1,123.60 contracted services. So,
Second.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Resolution 2018-25. This is for money to be appropriated for repairs and maintenance in the road and bridge fund. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, that the following supplemental appropriations to the road and bridge fund are necessary to pay for repairs and maintenance. $10,000 to account 2031-330-323 repairs and maintenance.
So,
Second.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
John?
yes.
Resolution 2018-26, supplemental appropriations for other expenses in the general fund, and this is primarily to pay for the community picnic. Be it resolved by the Board of Trustees of Auburn Township, Geauga County, Ohio, the following supplemental appropriations to the general fund are necessary to pay for other expenses, mainly related to the community picnic. $2,500 to account 1,110,599 other expenses.
So,
Second.
Mike,
Yes.
PJ,
Yes.
John,
yes.
and that is all that I have.
Okay. Maple Shade Restoration Project, we, as Emmerich said, we've got the asphalt down. I think Todd did a real good job. We have some clarification for those that are directionally challenged. The entrance to the parking is off of Washington Street. It's one way with an exit on Auburn. Emmerich, you do have some signs.
You should cross your desk there
Okay.
with the signage of.
Signage, we've got some signs on order, one way. We're also met with a gentleman who does striping, and we laid out the striping and 15 different ways. The Sunday we came up with, there's 18 spots was what we started with. They're 9-foot spots, and it'll be like a 15-degree angle. The spot over here to the right, or to the to the south of the walkway here, is a full van handicap spot. Meets all the requirements of that, and plus a walkway to come into the line up to the new sidewalk. So we should maybe in another week or so. He said he'd be available to get that done for us. Also, he's going to put 2 one-way arrows down for those that can't read the signs. He highly recommended that. And we should be off and running with that. I did check in with JFD. They're on schedule to get in here more like the end of the month. Weather dependent, in other words, they want it to be cooler.
Yeah, this drought is really conducive to planting grass.
Yeah, and they'll get the plantings in. And they'll also get the uplighting in for the parking lot. And various, that we already have planned, some small uplights around the building at the very beginning. We did apply for the NOPEC grant to take care of the cost of that lighting. And we're getting all of it, but about $2,000, so I think that's pretty good. Get that handled, we'll have it, I think it's gonna look real nice. So, the other thing we need to do is, we need to replace this door and that side door. And Nancy shopped all around. We went back to Cleveland Vicon, who had by far the best prices, to replace the front door and the side door. And the question came up, should we also replace the door that goes in to the zoning office? It's probably 40 years old. Is that right, Jim?
Yeah, I'd say probably
At the same
something
time.
a little more energy efficient, but.
Well, yeah, and this would follow along in the another NOPEC grant. And so as long as we're doing this, we might as well include it. The one thing we were trying to do, since we took out the asphalt that was over there, is it's more of an exit door, which was requested by Otama. We're not looking to draw attention to the door to make it an entrance.
More of an emergency.
It's an emergency exit, really. And so one of the things that was suggested, and there's a couple of things that have to do here. One is to put some lights out on the front of the coach lights on the front of the building and over there. And actually, there is a light over there that matches the one over here. So we might just take that one, move it over here. Those will match up. They're kind of they don't match these doors, which are entrance doors. And so that falls into where you see, you got a couple of things going on here. You see the exterior doors and then electrical updates. We have to, for electrical updates, we need to add an exit sign right here over the door to the zoning office. And that was requested by Otarma. So we'll take care of that. We also need a GFI plug on the outside of the building to power all of the lighting's going to be low voltage. And so it'll go into that outlet. We need that. And electrical, to power those lights. So she's got a quote here to do that. None of these are big items, but they're all items that need to be taken care of. And if there's anything else you wanted to throw in there, now would be the time. And then one other thing is that since we're using this east side of the building, it became readily evident that looked like the windowsill had fallen out, but in fact the windowsill's there. It was the bottom of the window. Hallway window, so we did get a price in there to fix. We got approached from Doug to replace that window with an energy efficient window, and also it's shatter resistant. So you see those are in the various costs. And the other thing we need to do replace the soffit material in the entranceway. Because of that, light will no longer be functional. There'll be a hole in there, and it'll be a good opportunity to spruce that up as well. So, thoughts?
The uplighting on the flagpole in the cemetery.
That's already been included in the low voltage lighting.
Okay, so that's in this electrical project. No,
That's in the landscaping for the cemetery.
Okay. And the other thing is the doors, we're going with, these are gonna be glass doors that we're looking to replace. Entrances are gonna be a little bit different. It's just, they're updated, they're insulated, and they'll be the same as the doors up at Adam Hall, essentially, is what you said. The door of the zoning office, we don't need to go with that.
Just a metal door.
Just a metal door. Okay. Since we're really not using it except for emergency.
I just interrupt you, PJ, for a minute. I heard myself. One of the things we have to do with the doors, they don't come painted. So prior to installing them, we're going to have to paint them. So I was thinking we could have them delivered at the garage, and we could set them up there and have the frames painted.
Bring them down.
And then the installer can, Vicon will install them. They just don't paint them. And that's the same drill that we had at the fire department and we had at the service garage.
One at a time here. Motion to accept the bid from Cleveland Vicon for $5,625.
Could you throw an extra onto there and for that door? Because we didn't include that. It sort of came up later. The doors price does include fob locks for everything.
Okay, so this was, so what are we looking at, another 2,000?
No, lunch.
Okay, so we'll make that motion for $6,625. That's to include 3 doors.
Three.
Brass or gold hardware. Okay.
That's, we'll stick with the brushing in the next one. Current,
Okay.
whatever it comes with.
Mike?
Yes.
MJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Second on that?
Yeah, did you say? Okay. Okay.
In retrospect. Bless you, my child.
I'd second it, but I already made a motion, so I can't.
Any other ideas down there, Mr. Troy?
Okay. I got 2 quotes for the electrical. We dealt with blue collar.
Now, one of the key things on this, I talked to Nancy quite a bit when electricians were in and out, just coincidentally, was hiding wires. You know, there's some brick, it's mostly cinder block. A couple of these electricians were, that was kind of the hang up, is they didn't think they could do those, hide the wires without putting them in a channel on the outside, which is not optimal, you know. I'm pretty sure both these 2 estimates that we have in include hiding those wires. Cinder block to get to the fixtures, and that was probably kind of important.
We talked to, when Courtney was here, I know we talked to him about hiding that wiring. And it was, basically, there'd be some type of trim that would go over the wire.
First guy said he could do it, though. That's, I mean, we double checked with that too after we got the estimate. And no, we haven't worked with them before, but that's the background on that.
Well, it doesn't look like their quote specifically states anywhere that the wires are to be hidden.
No, it doesn't, because they were one of the first ones to quote. And then we got with a couple other contractors, which said there was some difficulty in doing that, or it was impossible to do. And Nancy did call back to double check on that, and no, I don't believe you have that in writing, wires are to be hidden. That's
It's
what we
not-
were sure.
And it's not in the Portland quote either.
I say let's go with that guy in blue collar.
Well, okay,
I think that she has vetted them both to be good on the same thing.
I'll make a motion to accept blue collar's code of $1,985.15 contingent on the fact that the wiring will be hidden.
Okay. Second.
Mike?
Yes.
BJ?
Yes.
John? Yes, sir. Okay, takes care of that. Now for the building repairs, which would be that window.
Yeah, I'll go ahead and make a motion. That
Okay.
price is pretty good for,
Yeah.
$475 Blue Pines to install.
And
new
then
windows.
also, you need to add the soffit foot.
It's different. Same contractor?
Yeah.
Okay then, all right then. That would include the soffit, okay, so $925 for, window repair and soffit repair.
Second.
Mike?
Yes.
BJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes. Okay, so one other thing we need to do is install the locks. And once again, Nancy did a lot of research on these.
and we even went back to John, our locksmith. And he's his recommendation was those Slage keyless lock sets.
These are for interior doors.
Yes. The others were on the doors from Vicon, the outside.
Well, we've got two quotes that are quite different there. There's about $7,000 difference, so
Right.
I think I'll lean towards the one for Cleveland Vicon, $1,855 to replace, interior door sets with keyless lock sets.
Yeah, I'll second. Yes.
BJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes. We had one last quote, which was $500 to, what's the name of the place? Hide the striping guy.
Precision line.
Precision line. Now, if you're gonna line in the parking lot, driveway.
What you want?
$500.
So moved.
He was recommended by Nick Morris, said he does a lot real nice. We met with him, Emmerich's offered to come up and double check the first space on both sides, and, striping definitely is important to have.
At least you can make the suggestion with the stripes anyway, right?
Pardon?
When you put stripes in, at
Well,
least
he
you're
did.
making a good suggestion.
We worked with him for about 3 hours, actually, to determine what was the best angles. It turned out to be the angle we started with.
Mike?
Yes.
BJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes. Okay, so that leaves us to go back to our dear friends. You covered the open doors. Our picnic is on September 29th, 12 to 6. We've got banners up. Pretty visible spots. Geez, I didn't know you were going to do that. Have a picnic. Anybody want to take bets on who's the first person to say that? Charter Communications, franchise fees, $48.52.79.
And motion to put that into the land acquisition improvement fund.
Check.
Yes.
BJ?
Yes.
John?
Yes. One other thing I wanted to mention, Nancy went to a meeting at NOPEC, and the basic thrust of this meeting was how to explain to the citizens NOPEC, and also how to answer some of the questions that we get that come in here as to when somebody, like, all of a sudden, they look at their bills and they see NOPEC on there. And so she said it was really helpful. One thing that she pointed out, NOPEC has a brand new, very user-friendly website that you can look up, and if you're a citizen, you can read a lot about NOPEC. And so I think NOPEC's been pretty good for the people of Auburn, actually saved a fair amount of money. And as a matter of fact, the township has benefited from some of these programs where we've increased energy efficiency. So we did, of course, pay for all of the upgrade of all the streetlights for the NOPEC grant. which was the purchase of all the fixtures. So we started saving, the minute they were plugged in, we were saving 100%. There was no buy-down period to pay for the installation of all those fixtures, and that was very helpful. So saved us quite a bit of money. So, anything else?
Yeah, I see a couple things here. Chris Livers retired from, or resigned from the Board of Health.
Yeah.
So, John, you actually get to go to another meeting, it looks like, at least.
That ought to be interesting, huh?
At the end of
We want to
September.
talk about an operation that doesn't know which direction they're going in.
Are there any applicants or rumored applicants for that spot yet? No? So,
All I can tell you is the guy who's the president, you would have thought maybe before the general meeting, he might have just looked into what his duties were. I don't know,
Yeah. That'd be a good idea.
but that's just me.
that's gonna move quickly, at any rate, because they've got 25th at 7:30.
Okay, that's what I need. I guess we should talk about it, assessments, where you actually have some people that, new youngsters that don't know what assessments are. PJ and I lived through assessments, and there's nothing good about them. There's nothing fair about them. And it's interesting that one commissioner who's on his way out the door, who's never been here under assessments, he of course weighed in on his great opinion, and basically will let somebody else pay for it. But I don't know where this is gonna go. That could be a $30,000 to $40,000 hit to our budget.
And I would think that's probably about where it would start, costs being what they are, as opposed to 18, 20 years ago when they went away.
And then you have eastern townships who utilize 98% of the services, and their assessment was like $2,000.
Well, it was, it wasn't arbitrary, it was based on population, I believe, and a formula of population and evaluation. But you're right, the demographics are all the uses to
Yeah, so
these
basically the higher populated western counties
with higher.
pay a lot more
Yes.
than the,
That's kind of how Social Security works.
That's how the tax code works, actually.
Great theory. I'm gonna be honest with you, I will vociferously voice our opinion against that.
like I said, well, people seem to have understood so far, and they've been okay with the,
Yeah, but you
Paying
have
the
like
taxes.
5 people right now that never were here for this and are all espousing the great value of assessments, and of course, none of them know what the hell they're talking about.
and all those people are not gonna pay any of the assessments themselves.
One will. Chester will. Like Chester, Russell, Bainbridge, and us, we paid 80% of the assessments.
Well, the voted levy, I don't recall offhand what it went over last time it was renewed, but I don't think it was terribly close that I can remember. So the county has supported that. Countywide, it's been supported. Have the opportunity again this year, because it's on the ballot, for 0.2 mil renewal, which I think when you're up there at the end of the month, you can say that our township supports the renewal.
Absolutely, yeah, I did that at the initial
Yeah.
meeting. Right.
Well, I think the option there really is no option per the Ohio Revised Code, since we're, so many people are in unincorporated areas. We have to have a health district, so and obviously it needs to be funded somehow. The more fair way to do it is through voted levy. even a voted levy though, Mike, you know, all the evaluations from here over, you know, so the western part still pays the bulk of this anyway, but at least you have a say in how it's.
Yeah, at least the
Yeah.
voters have a say in it as
Yeah.
opposed to not having a say in it,
Yeah.
and then having that same amount of money come out of our pockets.
Yeah,
directly out of the
by
township.
assessments, they're just gonna tell Fred, you don't get this money, so don't even consider it, because it's not yours, because you're paying for the health district, and that's kinda how it worked.
And every year it went up.
It always does, right? It always does, sure.
That was a yearly thing as opposed to here, you have a levy that's, what is that, 5 years?
You know, and I'll make this real brief, but you went to the HDAC meeting at the end of March,
Mhm.
which is a state mandated thing that you gotta do that. 3 weeks prior to that, the health district would hold a budget meeting where they would go over their proposed budget pending approval by the HDAC.
Right, to see this year we didn't do that because of the issues that were going on in the health department.
Well, this was done when I got started here. 3 weeks prior to that HDAC mandated meeting would be the budget meeting. And at that point, they reveal what your hit was gonna be, what your assessment was gonna be. They'd get more people to those budget meetings than they would to the actual
Yeah.
HDAC meeting. And of course, as assessments went away towards the end, when Bob Weisdack was still, you know, kind of putting these preliminary budget meetings on, you'd get 4 or 5 people there, that'd be it, you know. So, hence the reason why interest has gone away. You got commissioners that have no idea what they're getting into on assessments, because it's just been gone for a generation. So, but if they go back to, it'll come roaring back, it'll be right there at the forefront again. And, you'll hear a lot of noise from people to our west, that's for sure. As well as here. So good luck with that.
Public comment?
Public comment, yes.
Yes, thank you. I have 2 questions, the first of which is for Fred. Warrant number 4709 to Marzane Material for 10K.
Uh-huh,
What was that?
asphalt.
Ah, cool, okey-doke. And the second question is directed to Mr. Everly. Earlier in the meeting, you made reference to a NOPEC grant covering all but $2,000 for lighting. So the question is, what was the total cost of that lighting?
7,000, I can't remember the number. What's 7,000?
It's about
Somewhere about
75.
7,500, and
And they
Okay.
covered about 5,400 of it.
Okay,
57.
cool. Okay, thank you.
And all the streetlight replacements that the board.
Yeah, I
voted
got
to
that
do.
part. It was
Yeah.
just the 2K piqued my interest, so thank you.
Wait, Mr. Warren.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second.